lots of video games, so being able to pull yourself away from playing video games to watch a movie about video games is pretty tough. So thank you very much for doing that. If anybody has any questions, we'll be happy to answer them. Any comments, etc., etc. Oh yes, you.
I'd just like to know where it was filmed.
It was filmed in Louisville, Kentucky. In well, you mean like the neighborhood? That was my parents' subdivision. That was where I grew up. I don't live there anymore. I just want to clarify that. But you know, we would basically come there usually every weekend, some weeknights, but for the most part it was weekends. Everybody had full-time jobs they had to do. Come on the weekends, kick my parents out of the house, film, good times.
Set fire to the driveway.
Set fire to the driveway. That was not fake. That was real fire. We left charred marks, and then I haven't been invited back to my parents' house since.
How did you get the hospital scene?
The hospital scene, that was actually my aunt. I knew her, and I was like, hey, can we film a quick cutaway shot of Craig in the hospital? And I think she even applied the gauze to your nose, because we were like, you know, we were kind of scatterbrained, running and picking up some pickup shots after the fact that we had shot all this originally back in September through, I guess, like mid-November?
November.
Yeah. So then, like, next year, like into 2012, we were like looking for different shots that we could use to kind of, you know, add some more zest to certain scenes. And we were like, wow, we're missing some opportunities where we could show Craig, who was our more or less a fall guy throughout it, in more situations where he gets hurt. So, you know, it felt good to go to a hospital and have you sit in the hospital bed for just a second, pull the curtain aside, and have him look really sad, the gore on groan. So.
In the outside scene, we just like.
Yeah, we just
drove up to another hospital and was like, real fast.
Hope we don't get arrested.
Let's film. Anybody tells us not to film. Just get in a wheelchair, and unfortunately Craig couldn't really roll straight.
Yeah, you saw him run into the camera. At the,
so it's not like we could really get in and get out. So fortunately, no security stopped us. They even walked by and didn't even care. So we were like, okay, well, I guess
it's not like we ever bothered to have a permit for any of this. You know?
The morgue scene was not. It was actually a break room at Matt's work.
It's actually in the kitchen.
He works at Kroger offices, and we just went into the like break room kitchen area, and there he just have a stainless steel table and some refrigerators in the back. And we're like, that looks like cold, you know, refrigerated for bodies. And we of course don't have a body bag, so that's actually a garment bag for one of my suits. I just slid down on him and zipped it up. And I was like, this is a black bag with a zipper. It works for me.
Yeah, we were there over the weekend when everyone was supposedly not there.
Well, some people were.
Some people were there, and we were just like, I had to take my shirt off at the same time because I was supposed to be a dead body.
Got a camera.
I was like, this is gonna look so weird. We sit here,
kitchen offices.
Just filming something for Kroger's. Don't mind me.
Just all right.
So, well, yeah, you had your hand up.
Any future projects? Maybe a sequel?
Oh well, we do have future projects. We're currently working on bringing Ricky Henry, the gentleman in the back room. He's got a comic book series called Monster Management Security Bureau of Cincinnati. Got it all right, right?
Got it.
Fantastic. I've been rehearsing. But we also just call it MMSBC for short because it's you know, it rolls off the tongue. It's easier. But it's more or less Power Rangers running around in Cincinnati. I mean, who wouldn't want to see that, right? So we're kind of doing like a concept trailer where, you know, maybe it could be a web series, maybe it could be a full-blown feature. Who knows? But we basically went out and shot a bunch of, you know, we basically went out and shot a trailer, like a concept trailer, to see if people would be interested in maybe something we want to crowdfund, kickstart. In the interim, we also have some video game shorts that we're working on that we're going to upload to our YouTube channel, Pixel Brain Productions. So definitely keep an eye out for those. And you know, we've tossed around the idea of Zach Cooper too, but there's a reason why only Zach is here, and that's because the other actors, like, you know, Chi's either in China or in school. Brian, who played Travis, he actually he's like in Indiana somewhere at a zoo. Parts unknown at a zoo. He's like a zoologist, which is why he referred to the alligator as a herp, which is the scientific name. So it's really hard to get a hold of all the actors. Chet, even Jeremy, he lives like at least 2.5 hours away from us in Corbin, Kentucky. So it's really hard to get the stars to align. because we talked about, you know, maybe bringing Chet back in some capacity, but it would definitely be one that we want to, you know, take our time with and make better, because if it's a sequel, it's got to be like, got to amp it up somehow. So it would actually probably have a budget. I don't know if you saw the Corgi puppet, but it's not as, you know, we got the most bang for our buck, I guess. You know, we were on a very tight budget. It was basically don't spend anything on anything unless it's necessary, and I needed to feed these guys somehow because they took off work, they requested off, they were taking free time out of their day, because usually these were like what, like
All day.
yeah, I was gonna say it was like 8 or 9 hours, but sometimes 12, 16.
That-
You know,
Get there
it's
between like
really
7
long.
and 9 in the morning and get out at like 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah. So you know,
That scene of me in the hospital took 6 hours.
just that short little scene. Yep, absolutely. You had a question, yes.
Provided the game collection.
The game collection? It's kind of a collection of everybody's in a sense. Most of the, are you talking about like when he's doing Snow Angels? Or like, or just,
In the basement, where are they?
It's probably mostly his.
oh, that's my room.
That was his. That was his.
That's his man
condo.
That's
That's his, like, that's his
my
game
man
room.
cave. I thought about shooting at another friend's house, but then, you know, this actually came about because a previous film that I was working on, we'll just cut to the chase and say it failed. If it, you know, we got kind of far into it. You were involved in this. No one else was, but she was. It just didn't work out, and it was like I had to rent a warehouse. I had to teach girls how to fight. There was lots of fake blood, and it just, you know, it was just like so much stuff that I was buying, and like basically I threw away a lot of money. And I was like, well, gosh, what can I do that I have access to? And I'm sitting in my room looking around like, well, I've got a lot of video game stuff. I know friends that have video games, but you know, just making sure that I had locations that I always had access to that I wouldn't have to rent, or you know, I basically built the whole script about what I have access to, and you know, who has the most interesting paraphernalia. Like, you know, I borrowed the Virtual Boy. That was your Gunblade, I believe. Yes,
My
your
Golden
Gunblade.
64.
His Golden 64. My Pikachu 64. And he's here. Yeah. We
And
resurrected
then,
him
like, my
just for this.
zappers and.
Yeah, that's right. I think we combined zappers.
I think I had one, he had one.
Yeah.
So it's like, I mean.
Because we had a
the
gray
reason we
one, and
met
we're like,
was
nah,
because
orange.
We used to go to half price because get retro video games and the retro video game days because we're collectors, so we all have a lot.
We're weird like that. We have a lot of ones.
A lot. Pretty much, if he was like, "Do you have that?" Yeah, I have that. Okay.
Yeah. So like there was another person's house that I was thinking about filming in for his basement, just because, you know, it's like the typical, like if you go to like if you watch Angry Video Game Nerd or whatever, it's just like shelf after shelf of games, and just so you know that this guy is a collector or a hoarder. But then I was like, you know, he's kind of flaky. He'll probably be like, I don't want you to come over and film, because I mean we'd be there like all day. I think he just got a dog. I don't know. It's not important. But anyways, it was just like it was easy to just do it in my own room, my own man cave. So even the Friends DVD is not mine; it's my wife's. I just want to clarify that. All right, I mean that just kind of got worked in because it was just like right in the background. And you came up with the actual, you know, like my life's a joke.
Oh, the
I'm
theme.
broke. Yeah. So then we worked it in.
And with us having a lot of games, we're actually going through right now and playing a lot of the games that we reference in the movie and doing YouTube videos on where we're just like playing them.
Shameless plug: Zach Cooper's Power Club. It's on our channel.
Oh yes,
Uh,
Zach
oh, yeah,
Cooper's
yeah.
Power Club. We're
Yeah.
basically just drinking and hanging out and playing some of these games and just
that are referenced in the film.
commenting, either reviewing them and commenting on our memories and
We
nostalgia.
don't really review.
Or just making jokes about them. Like just get drunk and riff tracks them basically. So that's a lot of fun because pretty much every game we reference we probably own.
That's something we'll be making more of.
We will be more of those.
You want to?
Sure.
Just like, just let me know.
So yeah, we've done one on GoldenEye and Sonic so far. Gonna try a few more with the cats.
Yeah. Yes, the gentleman with the mohawk.
My question is for Mike, who actually played Zach Cooper.
There you go.
I'm assuming you have kind of a video game background history. But at the same time, were there any references or anything that they came with you and you're just like, I don't know what the hell that is. What are you talking about?
99% of it. She and I are the two who knew nothing what was going on as far as what we were referencing, but it's easy to pull from like I love Superman and bracelets, DVDs. I collect DVDs, so it's easy to pull from there. But there was a lot of questions. She had more with the barrier of language Mine was more the barrier of video games. So if anybody wants to help me when we film the power play thing, feel free.
But they still had the same barrier because both of them didn't know what
I
power
think
weapons
she was actually more of a handicap because she had the language barrier and the video game
Yeah.
barrier, so it's like.
Oh, and stunts. I had the stunt barrier.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Aaron does a lot of
A
mic
decent
stunts.
amount of stunts, and I think each person did one of his stunts. Caleb
That's right.
was his feet on the skateboard, and I did a couple
My jumping.
jumps for him. Someone else did something for you, I believe, too.
Yeah. I was the dog stunt, like I threw the doggy.
I was a dog puppeteer. So yeah.
I was Chet's stunt arms and legs.
Not to be left out.
Right.
Stunt arms and legs. If you want to know who really opened the champagne bottle in the cutaway scene, this guy.
Thank you.
You want to add those cutaway scenes, right? You can get
Whoa.
Yeah.
I remember
First time we did that scene, actually, I spilled
Exploded.
champagne everywhere. We were like, we gotta make sure this cork pops off. We never, apparently, us grown adults have never opened a bottle of champagne in our lives. And so we were like, how do you make it pop out? So I shook it up really hard and just
Bad
like
idea.
popped this
The
cork
three of
and
us
it just
couldn't
went
figure it out.
everywhere.
Oh, I was referencing him.
We haven't
I would have
filmed
told
too.
you just open it. It's got pressure.
But yeah, as far as the references go, I remember Mike, asking what an expansion pack was because he was like, "Why am I excited about what's an expansion pack?" So we had to explain that, and he also was like,
Facilities.
"Yeah," and he's like, "What is slappers only? Like, what is that?" And like,
Yeah.
my favorite one was like after you had called Brian a blast processing games, and you're like, "I don't even know what is a blast processing game." So it was a lot of fun teaching him and Chi some of the basics, or not really the basics, but I guess just anything.
I'm not gonna lie and say that I play video games now, but I'm saying like because we've been able to do, like you said earlier, MagFest, Derby City Comic Con, the Louisville Expo, and here, I just watching other people playing, seeing their passion for it makes me have much more respect for it. I'm still not any good at it, but I can help you.
What's your
Ratchet and
good
Clank.
at? Tell him what you're good at, though.
Candy Crush and Ratchet and Clank. Oh, it should be.
So, anybody else got any questions? Mattson, I know you got some questions.
How long did the shoot take?
How long?
How long did the shoot take?
All the filming.
All of the filming?
Yes.
It's hard to say. Well, we started in, like I said, September. Actually, it was like our 2-year anniversary when we started. Like we started September 17th and 18th that weekend. 2011, yeah. And then we basically filmed from there until mid-November. So during the chase scene, we're actually trying to run in front of the houses that don't have Halloween decorations.
We started in the summer, and then during
Yeah.
the chase, it's like we found a good stretch of road, but that house has a giant pumpkin. That house is covered in cobwebs.
See, if you freeze
This tree
frame,
has lost all its leaves.
yeah, if you buy the DVD and you freeze frame on some of those scenes, you might see cobwebs in some trees and be like, aha, I know why that is. And then, what else happened? Just the leaves all falling off the tree. Like there were a few scenes that we had to knock out, down by the creek, and even just the slow motion walk from my parents' driveway. The following, really the next day, every single leaf on the bushes behind them died. So, it just wouldn't have been as visually interesting without those big red leaves behind them. It just would have been oh well, I thought, of course that was a fantasy scene, but everything else we needed leaves on trees because it looked like it was kind of summer, and it was. So. But pickup shots, sorry, we get off on track, but then we had pickup shots throughout 2012 because basically when we went to Louisville Arcade Expo 2011,
Oh, yeah.
our, wow,
I
yes.
went in 11. And
We
then
went to
second.
Arcade Expo 2012, and that's when we were like, hey, that'd be kind of cool to premiere Zach Cooper here. And so then that kind of ignited, because we really hadn't done a whole, because that was our whole life up until Christmas was just filming everything and getting all the footage. And then we kind of took a nice break. I got all the footage in and imported it, but it was just okay, there's no immediate rush. But then we basically set our deadline because it was hey, could we premiere it at Louisville Arcade Expo 2013? And they're like, yeah, that'd be great. So then we were like, oh gosh, more people are gonna see it, not just us. And then we're like, what's funny, what works, let's add some more scenes. So then throughout 2012, we added some more scenes. So
Let's add some more animation.
let's
That
add some
shouldn't
more
take too
animation
long.
for Nathan. Let's throw him in a room and whip him.
And then I just had to do all the visual effects and stuff, and I did most of them. We premiered it in April.
March.
March, yeah. And I did most of them like right after Christmas, so like January, February, March. And I had gotten some done in November right before Christmas, and then Christmas came, and my job is like, I'm busy. After Thanksgiving to Christmas, like 12-hour days, 6 days a week, and it's like, I don't have time to do this right now. So then after Christmas, it's like, shoot, I gotta get back into this.
It's like two.
I think it was like probably sometime around Thanksgiving that they were like that intro you saw that was like a couple minutes long. It was all animation and visual effects, and we originally were just starting in the basement scene. Boom, that's how the movie started. And he was like, we need to have something at the beginning to really tell people what this is all about and bring people in. And he wrote like a little narrative and voiceover. And he's like, but we don't have anything for this. It's got to be like animation or some like graphics and stuff. And he had me like listen to it or like read it, and I was like, okay, I know exactly what I want to happen during this, but this is going to take a long time. So like, suddenly, right after Christmas, I had to do like the whole intro before March and export it in 1080p, and we have kind of old computers like from 2005.
Yeah, that's the other thing. We render our render times take like 12 hours, 24 hours.
Yeah, like our like it's a
and then our equipment crashes on us.
Power
sometimes,
PC
too.
Mac
So-
from 2005, which is a great machine, but like in 2006 they stopped supporting Power PC, so like I can't get any of the new software for HD. So I'm editing HD on like After Effects and Final Cut on like a program that was like when HD was just budding, and so it's really intensive. And what would take on a newer computer 5 minutes to render, it takes probably 18 hours to render on mine. So it was like I was working in like 10% quality, and then if I actually wanted to see it, I would boost it up to like maybe 25% quality and render and walk away and be like, well, I'll see what it looks like in 2 hours. And then I'd be like, oh shoot, I moved that pixel wrong. Okay, let's go back, change it and redo it. So it was like a whole month or two of doing that.
And then he got in a car accident.
Oh, and then I got in a head-on car accident in February at 55 miles per hour and had to deal with a whole bunch of shit that
also
kind of
delayed
put me
him
out
a
of
few
commission.
weeks. Yeah.
He's like, oh, I'm pretty sure when he got the call when I was in the hospital,
I was more
his
concerned
first
about the movie.
thought was like, how are we gonna finish the movie? Oh my god!
And then I was like, are
it's
you
okay? I'm
okay?
okay. I'm okay.
Are you alive?
I can sit down and work on a computer still.
From my wheelchair.
Don't worry.
Yeah. So, I mean, so it was great. To answer your question, probably about a year now.
But the bulk of the filming was like
Yeah, the bulk of the
3
filming
or
though
4
was those 3 or 4
months.
months there.
And then it was just spread out.
Yeah.
Post-production.
Full body cast, and he was still able to edit the movie.
No, I just had a bruise.
Okay. Gosh, don't downplay it so much.
I was very painful.
Yeah.
My favorite story about that is like when the paramedic is like trying to figure out if you're hurt. He's about to cut your jacket open, and you're like, no, not this jacket. It's expensive.
It's expensive.
I couldn't let him cut off. My leather jacket.
I was fine. Anybody else? Any questions? Yes.
Did you guys all know each other before the project? Or was it kind of like, you just kind of pulled in talent, or?
Yes and no.
I can probably field this one a little bit.
Okay. Go for it.
I work at my day job is I work at Half Price Books. Do you guys have one of those?
Yeah.
here?
No.
Okay, sweet. I work in the one in Louisville, and I started this event at the store called Retro Game Day, where it's like every third Saturday of the month. I'd have people come to the store, and we would like have a competition for gift cards and stuff like that. And it was always retro games and stuff. And so I met both of these guys doing that. They would come out consistently for the events all the time. The first time I met him, it was a Sonic 2 competition. And he came out sporting like a Sonic shirt and everything. I saw his hair and the shirt, and I was like, this guy is serious about this game. I respect it. I was like, this guy he came to win. And win, he did.
Thank you. First place.
Yeah.
$50 gift card.
He didn't win the Sonic 3 competition though, so.
That's true. Had to bring that up.
But anyway, but yeah, so Aaron, what was the first one you came into? Was it
Star Fox
Star Fox
64,
64, and that's when they met too.
And he beat me.
And
That was the first one I showed up to,
Mhm.
and I had practiced all night the night before, and I was doing really great. But then when I showed up, I messed up, and I didn't say Falco. And so even though I flew through all the arches, I couldn't take the secret on waterfall exit to get to the secret boss and get more points. And I was like, dang, you know, I still did good, but somebody might beat me. And then this guy comes in. First time I really meet him, and he's wearing a N64. That's how I roll.
They always pay attention to what I'm wearing.
Shirt. And so I see this guy with this spiky hair and this N64 shirt on, and I'm like, uh-oh, okay, this might be some competition. So like he goes and he sits down, he starts playing, and I'm like watching from behind some shelves. Like watching this bogey count, and I see he 6, Falco, he goes through all the arches, and I go, shit, he's about to go through that waterfall, he's gonna get more points than me. And it gets down to where he's fighting the boss, and it's like down to the wire, and he ends up being like out of like 100 and some odd bogeys, basically. He was 2 bogeys away at the end, and I was, yes! And I came out and I'm like, oh, that was a good effort, but
And I punched him in the face. I said, make a movie with me.
And he found out that I had gone to school for video stuff, and Craig had dabbled in video stuff, and he was going to school for video stuff. We were all in video games.
I also do stand-up comedy, and so he was like, could you make sure this is funny? I was like, gladly. Here's a poop joke right here. Funny.
The audience will love that. I had a screenwriting class with Mike, so he actually read for the main character in that screenwriting class, and it was kind of a weird early alternate universe version of Zach Cooper, because the Pikachu 64 was still the object that people needed to get back, but there were 3 different main characters. That of course got scrapped and then kind of recycled into the new script. But then he also worked with me on some video projects there, and then so I kept him in mind. So we really only knew each other kind of through school at that point. So I really didn't, and I hadn't talked to him like probably a year after he had done this thing for me. So it was kind of going out on a limb, and I was just like, hey Mike, would you be interested in doing like this thing for this video game movie? And he was like, yes, absolutely. And I expected him to totally no-sell it, like not even respond to the message. And like he probably was. Not probably, but he was the most dedicated actor on this thing, because he cried. Like, he literally cried at that funeral scene. Not fake tears.
Although the sound effects I had to do later.
Yeah, he was crying.
He cried
It's
silently.
such a touching
Doesn't
song.
always need a double, so I might get a call.
So we hooked him up with that, and then Caleb, he's worked with me on a few other film projects before. He works at a recording studio downtown Louisville, so he is the go-to sound guy. He's the best sound guy I know. And he's not the only sound guy I know, so I'm not just making it up. So he's the best sound guy I know, and I've made him, as an extra at one point when he wasn't recording sound for us, and he rolled around in a warehouse of blood, fake blood. And so that was his first initiation.
Glad you clarified.
Yeah, fake blood, corn syrup, okay, food coloring. And then after that, I was like, hey, would you like to do something where you're actually, running audio? And that was in another warehouse where it totally failed. So for all intents and purposes, I knew in the back of his mind he was probably like, yeah, sure, another one of Matt's
I wasn't expecting
crazy ideas. Okay. But he did great, and he did the final mix for us. And I noticed he sat right in the center so he could hear both the speakers.
Make sure it's all
it
working.
sounds good. And if it wasn't, he would have, beelined right through the center row and fixed everything. So.
His greatest on-screen performance is yet to come.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
And the Monster Management.
I'm actually
Security
successful
girls
appearance in
and then
MMSBC.
He might be a monster. That's all I'm gonna say.
maybe.
He's back. So. We good?
Yeah.
So yeah, who wants to win? Who wants to win a free Zach Cooper DVD? We have a really great behind-the-scenes documentary on there, bloopers, audio commentary, and other different special features that you can't find anywhere else. Well, some of you can't find on YouTube, but most of you can. So yeah, you can pick one up at our booth, or come up here. They're just like $10. Or we're gonna hook the Pikachu 64 up. If anyone wants to try to be the first person to get a kill in Slappers Only with 4 other, well, not 4 other, but I guess 3 other. But who wants to try their hand at facility Slappers Only? Mike, do you want to go out and pick some? Zach is going to hand pick everybody that wants to do this. We decided we played this on one of our Power Club episodes, and originally it was like first to 10 points or whatever, and that just was not a good idea. If you've ever done Slappers Only.
Yeah, you can get 1, 2 kills maybe.
So that's why we're doing an abridged version.
And then it's like a battle of attrition. Whoever gets to the
The
bathroom
first
first.
person that gets a kill, we'll just say wins. So is there anybody else? There's, There's 3 more controllers.
What's the other way doing?
Yeah.
You really just need to know
Oh,
how to
he's
use a joystick and a
The
button.
Z button.
Just you, because with slappers only, you just walk towards people, hitting the Z button,
Just pushing the Z
just
button.
slap them.
Don't be shy.
Come
all
on,
you
Jason,
have
get
to
up
do.
there.
That was space.
You got it, Jason.
And it's really only one hand because they're on the same part.
That's
of the
true,
control,
yeah.
so, I mean,
But which?
well, I mean, you could use either, but left hand or more.
So you got it on the
One more.
right.
Can we get a lady?
Yeah, let's get
Lexi,
No,
Lexi, you.
I vote Kayla.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry.
She wants
Mike,
to.
you're
I
gonna-
know.
you're just gonna
Should
pick
I?
one.
Look at her phone
Right.
face. She
Mike,
wants
just
to
pick
do
one.
it.
You need one. Go over there and drag.
I like
it
your
up here.
shirt. Come on.
Yeah!
Sit right
You guys
here.
are my worst enemies.
It's okay. It's only because we love you.
Tell you what, we'll let you. What colors you guys want here? Somebody wants red?
Is that
What
right?
am I doing?
Well, the object is to slap the other person to death.
That
C is going to be your button of choice. You probably want to sit over on this.
I want you to do that on the game.
Right.
Who wants green?
I'll take it. Those are my dad.
Oh, yellow.
We didn't plug it. We didn't color code it.
I'm looking reverse.
There's a box of it.
So, multiplayer. We got 4 players. Scenario is normal. Level facility.
Oh, you missed. Now he's got to go all the way through because you can't just go back. I think everything
Okay,
should
so
be
basically
going.
all you need to really worry about with slappers only is the Z button, because that's the attack button.
You're gonna want to use
And
the
the
joystick there. Yeah. There you go.
You're not going to be picking up any weapons, so these buttons, now B will open doors for you. And
That's
C,
true.
C straight. So that's really all you need. So open doors becomes enough, but other than that, just walking through that. We're going to do, well, it doesn't matter, because it's just the first kill.
First kill wins.
I'm going into
Go
characters.
Lexi!
Who all we got up here? This is Lexi.
All right. Lexi?
Gentleman with the blue controller. You are Jason. Drake. Phil. Okay.
All right, choose
So
your
now I'm not
choose
going
your
to know who
character.
you are on this screen. Let me see. Lexi is going to be in this general quadrant.
Can you really be civilian?
He can't be civilian.
You got
before.
Drake. Phil is here, right? Lexi. Jason.
So Jason is Boris.
Your board here?
Yes. Lexi's Bond. Who's Natalia?
So you can just hit the big red start button.
Oh
And
man.
usually,
Okay.
yeah, usually you just want to call that. With the N64 controller, you don't even use the left side at all. Somebody started in the vent up there, so you're gonna want to go to the left to get out of there. Yeah, just go there.
So the first person to get a kill wins?
First person to smack somebody to death is
Excellent.
gonna win.
I don't know what this means by the end of it.
Yeah, see, this was Slappers On. This was Travis's favorite game type.
That's the exit for that.
We'll just see how great this is. How rewarding an experience.
No, add another layer to that.
If you didn't understand the joke, maybe you'll get it now. So there's there's Bud.
Uh-oh. Jason.
All you gotta do is smack him to death.
Turn around and smack him.
Just keep hitting the Z button.
Slap him.
Smack him, slap him. Turn around, smack him.
Oh, another person's in the room. I lost track. Who's Odd Job? Oh, Phil. Phil went the Odd Job round here. Odd Job's the shortest character.
Short,
right
so a
now.
lot of times when you're playing guns, he's a cheap character because you just shoot right over his head. And he's the fastest dude, so.
Uh-oh.
First blood.
Lexi smacking up Natalia. Smack Natalia.
They
Oh,
found each other. Now here's the thing.
yeah, that's the
You
thing.
can let
It's like-
somebody else do all the work and then come in at the end and just get one hit and you
You
win.
could do that, but if you get that one lucky slap.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
Uh-oh.
Oh my gosh. I don't know what's going on there.
Now who is killing?
Is that Boris? Is that you, Jason? Watch out.
I'm Boris.
You gotta figure out who's doing it. Right.
What was a double kill at the exact same time.
2 free DVDs.
Right.
Shortest character wins.
How do we not see the sign? That's the thing.
Well, then it'll pop up, it'll say such and such.
Oh, what's that top right? Which
Is
is
that Phil?
Brad
Phil!
Phil.
Look at Fantastic.
I wanted to see if we could get their rewards.
Yeah, go to exit, confirm.
All right, go to the left. Everybody go to the left.
Most deadly,
Most
most
deadly,
dishonorable.
most dishonorable.
That fits
Oh,
Phil
that's
to the T. Shortest innings, mostly cowardly for Lexi. All right.
All right, where's the ammo and most honorable?
Obviously, there's no ammo in slappers only, so what a cheap
Now go to the
thing to
left.
give out
Oh,
there.
and Drake got nothing. He didn't even exist in this game.
Great, you didn't even get an award.
I've never seen that before. They at least give me something.
Wow.
That's real bad. You should just give up a gaming.
What are you doing at this Game Junkie Expo?
I think it was a mistake for you to come here. Maybe look for another line of hobby. Goodness gracious.
After
Alright,
they just
well,
gave you a verbal slap down, here, have a free button.
A button.
We do have lots of buttons, and of
Thank
course
you,
the
everybody.
DVDs if you want to check them out. $8. Thank you very much.
Thank you,
Woo!
everybody.
Thank you.